Once you've defined your sales process and built your sales playbook, you need to continually evaluate how well everything is working.
The moment you figure something out, the market changes, right? Norman Schwarzkopf said the enemy gets a vote. The great philosopher, Mike Tyson, said everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face.
To avoid getting punched in the face, constantly monitor how well your sales process is performing.
Now map your process, your funnel, to that point, and if nowhere else, just begin measuring what's happening there and begin cataloging what activities are taking place there. And be sure that every 3 months at least you're looking at that and reassessing it and saying, okay, what can we learn from this? What can we look to?
It also helps to talk to the people who have gone through your sales process to see what they thought of it.
Often when the deal's closed and it moves across to customer success. But what's really important and what's allowed my sales teams to thrive is by taking the opportunity to ask both the successful customers and also the customers we've lost in the deal why or why not they didn't proceed. Because that feedback normally doesn't make its way back to the start of the process, which is enabling the reps and teaching them. And so if we close that loop and make it a process, then we're able to continually optimize our deal structure and process going forward.
In the Sales Enablement Playbook, Cory, Bray, and Hilmon Sorey say that every sales process is in one of 3 states: humming, experimenting, or thrashing. Let's take a look at each of these states and what you need to do if your sales process is there. If your sales process is humming, it means that more than 80% of reps are hitting quota consistently. New hires step in and ramp quickly to target performance, and no one is complaining about process improvements. Having a sales process in this state is a remarkable feat, but that doesn't mean you can relax. You have to be constantly vigilant because change will come.
It's a continual thing because it changes, particularly if you're in an industry that changes rapidly. What worked yesterday may not work tomorrow. Market conditions may change dramatically. The client base may change and so on. So I think that is an important part of management of an organization, is defining what it is that we do, what do we do the best, okay? My friend Tony Jerry calls that high leverage activities. Let's look at what you do that delivers the most results, do more of that. If there's stuff that's noise that's delivering less results, do less of that. And the idea is to build that process and continually hone that process. And if circumstances change, if it's the financial markets change and we no longer really lease this stuff anymore, we really want people to acquire and buy this, or vice versa. You have to be on top of that and make sure that you're ahead of that curve so that for the good of the corporation, you've got the process continually being made better. And education of everyone. Remember how we used to do this and we got great results? We've noticed the results are coming downward. You know, our profit margins are declining doing it this way. So to fix that, we've decided to tweak the process. We're going to do this over here now. And we've done a couple of tests of that. Profit margins were up a little bit, so we're going to do more of this. And just continually that education process and making the investment in your team to continually educate them.
In short, your sales process is never perfect. You might have moments where it's humming, but maintaining that hum requires constant improvement and iteration. The next stage your process might be in is the experimenting stage. This stage precedes the humming stage. If the process isn't humming, the best way to get it there is to run rapid experiments and continuously improve. Here are some suggestions of experiments you can try to improve your sales process.
What you do have to do is listen to the frontline folks of the sales team. You know, what are you seeing? We lost this deal. What type of analysis do we do on a lost sale? Why did we lose that? Is it the last time we did this whole process, we won. This time we did the same process, we lost. So what's changed? You know, was it the client? Was it the market? Was it our supplier has done something, changed something in our offering that's not as attractive anymore, or they haven't kept up? So there's a myriad of things that you have to kind of all mix in there. But I think the idea is to have everyone aware of that. Have the frontline salesperson always asking the client, you know, we've been selling you these oranges forever now. What are you guys thinking in the future? Is this your future? Are these oranges really what you guys are going to be wanting going forward? Or have you been doing research and find out that tangerines are the new thing, that we should be shifting to tangerines? So let me know, because I want to serve you as your supplier.
I call it the 1-2 punch. So often when a rep sends an email, they get no response. But if I have a structure or some software to help me where it tells me that a priority account has been prospected to or closed or lost or won, I then email in to that decision maker as a VP or an SVP level person. And often I can get a response because I say, peer-to-peer, I'm trying to help my team. Can you give me some candid feedback here?
So what you're trying to do is define those stages, and that's really the first step, is firmly defining stages and entry and exit criteria of those stages so that it's consistent. Then once you do that, you look at close rates and what affects whether or not an opportunity closes. So you look at first developing a volume that is substantial, so that you're not working off like maybe 5 deals a month. You actually have enough pipeline to be able to tell some things from it. But then you look at who's doing the best and how to mimic that across the team. So if someone is sending an email out in the post-discovery call phase that really makes a big difference for their conversion rate into the capabilities call, then you mimic that across the team and you A/B test and you make it happen. But the primary part of optimizing a sales process is really defining those stages clearly.
The final stage your process might be in is thrashing. There is never a time your sales process should be thrashing. As Cory and Hilmon say, continuous improvement in a controlled environment is ideal and recommended, but thrashing from one solution to another is corrosive. When things aren't going well, it's easy to flail around looking for solutions to every problem you encounter. But it's better to keep experimenting and making incremental improvements. That can be a hard thing to do even when times are good. It can seem impossible when your team's struggling to hit goals. But it's vital to the long-term success of your organization.
I think most sales organizations operate usually in crisis mode. If you look at Covey, for example, it has 4 quadrants. In the upper, you're looking at me here, the upper left is going to be crisis, and the upper right is going to be proactive activity. Down here it's other people's problems, and down here at the very bottom is just time wasters, right? So that's how Covey actually splits it all up. Well, the problem is that if they keep chasing the dollar and they don't know what their capabilities are, then they're always going to have this doubt in their mind as to whether they can actually get there or not. And so organizations themselves are actually operating in crisis mode most of the time. But in order for them to get out of that, what they have to do is they have to focus over here on this quadrant, the second quadrant, which is the proactive part. Now, in order for them to focus on that, requires really, it's more of a paradigm shift than it is an operational shift. It requires a cultural shift in order to say we're going to focus or have a good portion of our activities here focused on proactive development, trying to get ahead of that curve, trying to figure out what the customer might actually need, and trying to make the sellers understand that, bring the information together, bring the whole company together. Again, back to sales enablement. How do you bring all the information together, right? So, yes, companies typically will operate, especially a sales organization, will operate in a crisis mode. The rest of the company might be doing okay, but trust me, it's like a duck floating on water with feet paddling wildly under the water, right? That's typically what a lot of sales organizations are like.
Don't fall into this trap. Build your sales process on the buyer's journey. Carefully define your exit criteria, and then continuously evaluate and iterate to improve your process over time. Do this, and you'll be well on your way to having a sales process that hums.